What's up, smarty people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast. It's called What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Also, if you're hanging out on the interwebs, add me on Spotify or YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, comment. I like comments. Maybe I'll read some comments on future episodes of What Makes You Smarter. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, interesting facts. In fact, some interesting facts about tea. I'm a big tea drinker. In fact, I think my favorite tea of choice is the Arnold Palmer, which is not strictly tea. It is half tea and half lemonade. I know that there's different ideas. Sometimes it's 3/4 tea and 1/4 lemonade. The ratio can vary, but it's so much easier for me, especially when I'm doing it with like a Crystal Light type packet of tea mix. I'll do one packet of lemonade and one packet of tea, and then mix them up in a 1 gallon jug and make myself an Arnold Palmer type, half tea, half lemonade. Very delicious, very delicious. But today we have some facts about tea. 7 facts about tea. Besides water, no beverage is consumed by more individuals across the globe than tea. For millennia, this beloved drink has been favored by many cultures, from those in China who first cultivated tea to modern customers in quaint cafes. Here are 7 refreshing facts about tea for those who want a dash of history and culture with their drink. Ooh, we get culture. Number 1, tea bags were popularized by accident. Before individual tea bags came into wide use, it was more common to make an entire pot of tea at once by pouring hot water over tea leaves than using a strainer. In 1901, Wisconsin inventors Roberta C. Lawson and Mary Walleran filed a patent for a tea leaf holder, a concept that resembles the tea bags we use today. It wasn't until about 7 years later, however, that another individual inadvertently helped popularize the concept of tea bags, at least according to legend. Around 1908, American tea importer Thomas Sullivan reportedly sent samples of tea inside small silken bags to his customers. His client failed to remove the tea leaves from the bags, as Sullivan assumed they would. And soon Sullivan realized he stumbled onto an exciting new concept for tea brewing. He later reimagined the bags using gauze and eventually paper. Tea bags were booming in popularity throughout the United States by the 1920s, but it took a while for residents of the United Kingdom to adopt the concept. In fact, tea bags wouldn't make their way to the UK until 1952, when Lipton patented its flow-through bag. But even then, the British weren't keen to change their tea brewing ways. By 1968, only 3% of tea brewed in the UK was done so using tea bags, with that number rising to 12.5% in 1971. By the end of the 20th century, however, 96% of UK tea was brewed with bags. Now, I suspect it's easier, since you're drinking a lot of tea, to brew it in a bigger container. I make a gallon of tea for myself, and sometimes I'll drink 2 of those in a day. My goodness, I drink a lot of tea. Tom Collins, right? Number 2, the British have their own official standard for the perfect cup of tea. The British are serious about tea, so much so that British Standards, a national body that produces technical specifications for products and services, released an edict in 1980 on the official British guidelines for making the perfect cup of tea, though some may disagree with the standard. The rules include the following. Use a porcelain pot and a ratio of 2 grams of tea per every 100 milliliters of water. Brew for 6 minutes. Maintain a temperature of 60 to 85 degrees Celsius, 140 to 185 degrees Fahrenheit. When serving the tea, add milk to the mug first if using tea that's already been steeped. All right. Number 3. Herbal tea isn't actually tea. This may be a shocking revelation, but herbal teas like chamomile and peppermint aren't officially teas at all. In order for a drink to be classified as tea, it must come from the Camellia sinensis. Why can't Daniel read? Sinensis plant. Sinensis. From which many white, green, oolong, and black teas do. Herbal teas, however, are known as tisanes. Tisanes. Or more plainly, infusions that incorporate various leaves, fruits, barks, roots, flowers, and other edible non-tea plants. So while the experience of drinking minty tea may be indecipherable from drinking a warm cup of green tea, the two beverages fall into completely different categories from a scientific gastronomic perspective. And don't get me started on almond milk. It's not milk. All right, I said it. Number 4. The world's largest tea bag was 551 pounds. Saudi Arabia is the site of at least 2 notable tea records. On September 20th, 2014, in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, the owner of a company called Rabia Tea unveiled a record-setting tea bag weighing 551 pounds and 2.56 ounces, earning it the distinction of being the world's largest tea bag. 8 years later, also in Saudi Arabia, a company called 999 Tea set the record for brewing the largest cup of hot tea. 11,000. That 11 million sounds big. 11,604.28 gallons. That's still a lot of tea. When it comes to the largest cup of iced tea, however, the achievement is proudly held in the American South. On June 10th, 2016, the residents of Somerville, South Carolina, banded together to create the biggest jug of sweet tea ever. 2,524 gallons using 210 pounds of loose leaf tea, 1,700 pounds of sugar, and over 300 pounds of ice. Of course, in the South, they drink a lot of sweet tea down here. Number 5. Besides Boston, several other U.S. cities held tea parties. While most Americans are familiar with the Boston Tea Party, in which colonists dumped chests of British East India Company tea into Boston Harbor as a protest against the taxation without representation, fewer are aware that many similar events took place along the eastern seaboard in the months that followed. Just 9 days after the protest in Boston, the Philadelphia Tea Party occurred on December 25th, 1773. Although no tea was destroyed, as in the Boston protest, a ship carrying a large cargo of tea was refused on its way to Philadelphia, and the captain, under the threat of being tarred and feathered, returned both ship and cargo to England. The following year saw even more tea parties, according to Charleston Tea Party including the Charleston Tea Party in November 1774, in which the captain of tea-toting ship feigned ignorance about his cargo, but was ultimately forced to dump the ship's contents into the harbor. Additional protests took place in New York, Annapolis, Maryland, Wilmington, North Carolina, Greenwich, New Jersey, and other American cities. Although Though none went down in history to the degree of the Boston Tea Party, they were all critical acts of rebellion against taxation and ultimately British rule. That contributed to the start of the American Revolutionary War. Number 6. Turkey consumes the most tea per capita of any country. Though no country consumes more tea than China overall, 1.6 billion pounds each year, there are several other nations whose tea drinking numbers are even more staggering when broke down per capita. At the top of that list is Turkey, as each tea-loving Turk consumes around 7 pounds of tea annually, compared to just 1.25 pounds per Chinese citizen as of 2014. You got to catch up, China. Catch up. Turkish individuals are particularly fond of black tea, and they average 3 to 5 cups per day, which comes to a staggering 1,300 cups per year, give or take. Though they've already set the record, tea drinking was also on the rise in Turkey during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Turks are so proud of tea as a foundation of their culture that in 2020, the country petitioned UNESCO to add Turkish tea to the organization's intangible cultural heritage list. After Turkey, Ireland finished second on the list of tea drinking countries per capita, with the United Kingdom coming in third. All right. Top 3. Number 7. Cheese-topped tea is popular in Asia. Cheese-topped tea is popular in Asia. I had to say that twice. Though the combination of cheese and tea may sound somewhat incompatible, it's a beloved and delicious beverage that has grown in popularity throughout Asia over the last decade or so. Cheese tea is made as a cold beverage using green or black tea and is topped with a layer of milk and cheese that is then sprinkled with salt. The drink is a relatively new invention, having originated around 2010 at nighttime drink stalls on the streets of Taiwan, though it's since boomed in popularity throughout the Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, and China. Asia isn't alone, however, when it comes to incorporating cheese into their caffeinated beverages. Though it's not tea, a Scandinavian coffee drink called Kaffost, Kaffeost, features cubes of dried cheese soaking up in the liquid inside a mug of hot coffee. And in Colombia, locals add savory globs of melted cheese to a regional hot chocolate known as chocolate santaferino. Oh, santafereño. There's a little enye in that. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Well, that's a little bit about tea for you. Sip on those 7 facts about tea. Do you like tea? Let me know. What kind of tea do you like drinking? Maybe I should try something different besides my Tom Collins. I do like my Tom Collins. I get made fun of sometimes. You might as well drink lemonade. You put so much lemonade in your tea. Well, I like lemonade too. That's true. And I like lemon tea and I like lemonade, but really the half and half, delicious to me. Let me know what you think. Hey, drop me some comments, likes, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast. It's called What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Smarter. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.